The 1914D saw a lower mintage, less than 1.2 million were struck, and keeping in mind that the 1909 SVDB had a much lower mintage, as a first year of issue, they were saved in enormous numbers. Scarcely any authorities observed the low mintage of 1914Ds until most had gone into course. Profoundly looked for in all mint state grades, and seldom found in a full red assignment. This splendid red gem has an exquisite glossy silk-like sheen that truly draws out the heavenly tone. Very much delivered for the date, with strong definition to the subtleties. No diverting imprints, or bits take away, from the extraordinary eye advance, albeit a small tick or two can be seen with an incredible glass. This remarkable superb gem remains solitary at the highest point of the pop and is a prize for the most developed Lincoln penny-trained professional. The 1914D was preferred struck over the Denver issues of 1911 to 1913, and this is a particularly sharp model with fresh definition on the Lincoln's facial hair, coat, and all lettering on both front side and opposite. Dissimilar to the majority of the 1914D pennies we have seen, this piece shows rich, even mint red tone, with none of the earthy colored coloring normally experienced. Just 1.19 million Lincoln pennies were struck at the Denver Mint in 1914, and the generally low mintage was clearly neglected by contemporary gatherers. The vast majority of the mintage slipped unobtrusively into dissemination at the hour of issue, and few great examples were put something aside for numismatic purposes. The 1914D was perceived as a major question in the Lincoln arrangement by the 1930s, yet whittling down had incurred significant damage by without even a moment's pause were not many high-grade coins left available for use. In the 1935 standard catalog, the 1914D was attached with its S-Mint partner as the most important Lincoln pennies, at $2 each. As the fame and estimation of Lincoln pennies expanded drastically during the 1950s and 1960s, so did the quantity of fakes of this issue. One creator has hypothesized that there may really be more fake 1914D pennies around today than certifiable coins, a circumstance that is closely resembling the 1916D dime. The surfaces on this piece are uncommonly perfect, and issue-free, with no self-evident or diverting scraped areas on one or the other side. Amplification shows one imprint behind Lincoln's neck that can be utilized as a family identifier. This plus evaluated premium gem is at the apex of safeguarding for this central question and is sure to wind up in a significant Lincoln penny set. Albeit the 1909 SVDB is viewed as the vital date to the Lincoln penny arrangement, its restrictive extraordinariness falls a long ways behind that of numerous different dates, especially in the better read evaluations. The 1914D hangs out in such manner, affirming its key date status. There are reports of two uncirculated moves appearing someplace in the Pacific during the 1970s, either in Hawaii or the Philippines. Another half roll showed up in New Zealand around that equivalent time. Evidently, a large portion of these coins were conditioned in red and brown and regularly loaded with carbon spots.